Your boss is not God. Your boss is not a perfect leader. Your boss is also growing. In this video, we're going to look at how you can work with your boss in a much better way so you can get faster results. We're going to look at how you can manage your boss so that you can be able to walk around his or her personality and still be able to do well on the job. My name is Iyore. I've trained over 25,000 salespeople across 5 countries: Nigeria, Ghana, USA, UAE, Rwanda. I'm an author of several books and resources on sales, and I'm featured on a lot of media platforms to talk about successful selling. I worked in an organization where I was going to target to sell to 20 high net worth individuals, and I was able to bring it to 21 high net worth individuals in a single month. I also participated in a sales competition where I won, and I was sent for the World Cup for an all-expense paid trip. I moved to another organization where I was able to double my portfolio by over 100% in just 11 months. I'm CEO of Advantage and I specialize in Salesforce management. This means work with team leads, CEOs to help them optimize results and help their sales teams get results a lot faster. And ladies and gentlemen, when it's time to get results in a sales team, you see, your relationship with your boss matters. How you work with the person who has been assigned to lead you matters. First of all, let's understand that. What's the role of your boss? Your boss in the office is not necessarily going to be your friend. If he or she is your friend, fantastic, but they may not necessarily be your friends because they have what we call administrative oversights. When we say administrative oversight, this means they have to make decisions as regards allocation of resources, as regards allocation of talents to certain tasks or responsibilities based on priorities. Now, with this understanding, if your boss has to allocate time, resources, talents to tasks and decide which is which and which is best so that they can be able to optimize and get results faster, you see why sometimes the boss allocates certain resources to other people and maybe not to you. Or sometimes they may even allocate to you and not others. Some people say things like, treat everybody equally. If you get 10 leads, give all of us. If we are a team of 5 and the boss gets 10 leads, give each of us 2 leads, then so that we can all have equal opportunities. Now, you need to leave that to the discretion of the boss. And why do you leave it to the discretion of the boss? Because, you see, a lot of times, the boss is trying to make a decision constantly on who he can trust the most, on who has the greatest potential to help him achieve his target or his results in record time. If you don't position yourself to be that person, then the allocation and the opportunities will not come to you. I've seen cases where in a sales team, somebody comes to me, a person says, my team lead is very partial. He's always giving leads to this particular lady. Always giving transactions to this particular lady. And the person starts to insinuate certain things. That, oh, maybe he's having some extramarital affairs. Maybe the person has some ulterior interests. And you see, a lot of times, most times when I've looked into the matter, it's not necessarily so. It's just because the person in question was always closing deals. He got 10 leads, he gave two leads to each one. At the end of the day, this lady came back and she had closed 2 deals, even got 2 referrals. The 2 leads he gave the other person, the person had not even called or did not even close the sale. So your boss is testing you constantly to see if you're the person he can allocate most of the resources to administratively. And you must position yourself to be that person. So I'm going to show you a few things you can do right now to position yourself to that person, to be that person who works better with the boss, who gets better results, and understanding that your next promotion will not only be based on your sales numbers, it will also be based on what your boss recommends or says about you. In most organizations today, they look at promotion on a dual basis. They look at promotion based on performance. They look at promotion based on character. Now, you can have a good character, but if you don't have a good relationship with your boss, it will be assumed that you have a bad character. Because not every relationship is the same. Your relationship between you and your colleagues doesn't hold the same weight between your relationship between you and your boss. So know the relationships that have the most weight and give them priority. And one of them is your boss. Now, another perspective you need to also look at is that in a sales team, when we're looking at managing and working with the boss, it is not the same thing as working and managing with the boss in an operations team. In an operations team, there are procedures and things you need to follow to make sure that you're in good terms with the boss or you are doing your work properly. In a sales team, there are operations things you need to follow in addition to your KPI of sales targets bringing in numbers. It doesn't matter how good your relationship with your boss is or how good you think it is. If you're not bringing in the sales, there will be issues along the way because he will look bad. So the first perspective, the second perspective you also need to have is you need to make sure that you become great at selling. If you want to go have a good relationship with your boss, become great at the concepts of selling. Don't say things like, everything the boss is telling me to do, I'm doing it. If everything the boss is telling you to do, you are doing it, and you've been doing it, nevertheless, you're not still seeing results, why don't you study the subject for yourself? That's why we have a platform like this. Come on this platform, study the programs, look at the different topics, learn the concepts, get our books, get our resources, so that you can be able to be a top performer. That would immediately set a solid foundation upon which every other thing I'm talking about would work. So my first point here, I've said many first, but my major points now, I want to go into the tactics now to be able to work with your boss and get better results. First thing, take responsibility. Everything I've said so far, I've just laid the foundation, which is very key. Understanding the role of the boss, the administrative structure, how resources, administration has to do with the allocation of resources and how that's important. Understanding that the foundation of a sales team is about making sure that you're making sales and you're good at selling. Now, when it comes to the interpersonal relationships and things that matter, number one, take responsibility for the outcome of the relationship. You must see, don't leave things to chance. Don't say things like, I don't know how my relationship with my boss will go. Let me just watch and see how it goes. No. Decide it's going to go well. Take ownership of the responsibility. And one of the things you can do to take ownership of the responsibility is, first of all, forgive your boss. Forgive your boss. Your boss may have done things to you wrongly in the past. He may not have treated you right. He may have spoken harsh words to you. If you don't let go, you can't let love work in that relationship. If you don't let go, you can't begin a new chapter in your heart to take responsibility for the outcome of this relationship. I know it will not be easy because some bosses have done terrible things to certain staff. Terrible things that I can't even talk about in this video. But there is still room in the capacity of our hearts to forgive and move to a new chapter. Then, another thing is you want to be a great follower. This means your boss, you're supposed to make adjustments to the work style of your boss. I had the opportunity while I was in the campus. I was in a campus fellowship. And in that campus fellowship, I had many pastors who had come into the fellowship at different times. Now, this means that I had the opportunity to work closely with different personalities and different people. I observed that every new person that came in, they were so different. They were just so different. Then, in order for me to make that relationship work, I had to make adjustments. When I was in the bank as well, with the managers I had who changed interchangeably at different times, I had to make adjustments to the style of these people's work patterns. And if you make those adjustments, it shows that you respect the boss. Because if you respect your boss or can work with your boss, only if he or she treats you well, there's nothing special about that. If it's only when you see a personality that you can work with, then you work well with the boss. There's nothing special about that. Even the Bible says there is no glory in working with an easy and nice, calm, easygoing boss. But the glory is in working with a difficult person. Yet, you still comply. Yet, you still behave yourself nicely. Yet they speak harsh words at you, but you don't feel it's my right. You just humble yourself and you just take it. Because a lot of times, even the people who talk nonsense and act harshly, when you look at their competencies and the kind of results they produce in the organization, sometimes they're very enviable. So you have to make sure that you don't throw away the baby and the bathwater at the same time. You want to make sure that you take care of that relationship, you honor him, and at the same time, also be careful how you overlook all the other things that you don't like. I'm going to continue on this tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you on this call. If you haven't liked, please like this video. Share this video with others so you know need to join on this call. And we'll be going a lot deeper into the program. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon.